Rescue teams continue their hard work this morning at that construction site in George, where a partially complete residential multi-story building collapsed last Monday. An estimated 81 construction workers were said to have been on site at that time. Let's bring you the latest now with Newsroom Africa's Sipa Kema joining us from George. Sipa, good morning. It was a big day yesterday for the community there, not only the community at large, but the family members, and also from an accountability perspective for everyone involved in the recovery, but also in terms of what actually went wrong here. Just bring us up to speed this morning. I see you also just holding something in your hand. What is that?
I think first, let me tell you about some of the untold stories from this construction site, Iman. And one of those would be, the rescue workers talking for themselves, speaking for themselves, the kind of emotions and trauma they've gone through for this past week, trying to rescue and recover, people that were trapped underneath the rubble, working all around the clock, Iman. But what I have in my hand is one of the initiatives that was brought in by Gift of the Givers. So these teddy bears were actually donated by an organization, which we'll be speaking to Emily Thomas from Gift of the Givers about, and they were handed out to the rescue workers. If I were to tell you, Iman, the emotions that came out from those big guys when they received these little teddy bears, it made all much the difference to them at that point, because for the past week, they have just been exhausted. They've been going, not just exhausted physically, but emotionally, because recovering bodies and people and all the work that they've been seeing and doing on this site has taken a toll on them. So I think before we speak to the rescue worker that's coming in, let's speak to Emily Thomas from Gift of the Givers, and she can tell us about this initiative and what made Gift of the Givers think of handing out teddy bears to all the rescue workers, and what was the reaction?
Okay, so these teddy bears were donated to us by a group of ladies, and they are teddies for Tods. And it came in specifically for the kids of the families of the victims here. But there wasn't a lot of kids, but we had these 3 bags of teddies sitting in our container, and we just decided, look, let's go and give it to each one of these rescue workers that were working here tirelessly for the almost 2 weeks that we were here. And the reaction, we didn't expect such an emotional reaction from these guys, because you gave it to them, and some of them were hugging it, some of them were kissing it, some of them were tucking them into their shirts, some of them even shed a tear. Because when we gave it to them, I think for the first time they could really make contact with their real emotions, their human side. And it was so touching to see that, because since they came here, they had to be bold, they had to be strong, they had to not focus on emotions. And this little teddy, I think, just brought them back to reality and their own emotions.
And I believe, Emily, some of them still come in to the shifts with these teddies, and some of them are tucked underneath their jackets.
Definitely so. They're walking around with it. Some of them didn't get one yet, and they're asking, where's our teddies, where's our teddies? So this is quite a symbol of life and hope, and everything that we are, I think, in South Africa.
And the community, I mean, we've seen how the community has come out to assist here and donate and help. Gift of the Givers as well, being here every morning till late at night, supplying, refreshments, supplements, food for everyone on site.
Wasn't it amazing? It was the most amazing experience that happened in George. Even amongst the tragedy, you could look at the good that came from this community, where they all just pulled together and helped to make everybody's lives in and around the site just bearable.
All right, so thank you so much, Emily. That's Emily Thomas from Gift of the Givers. I think, Iman, I found it just interesting and very important to talk about such stories that are untold. We've been talking about the trauma, accountability, the hard work, but bringing in a bit of emotion and what these rescue workers have gone through for the past almost 2 weeks working on this site and recovering bodies. It's one of those stories that had to be told. But unfortunately, they're still hard at work, and we couldn't have them join us right now. But we will make sure in our next crossing that we'll be speaking to them.
And I think that is the exact spot upon which to leave things, Sipho. You've left us on a thoughtful and emotional, but also just such a beautifully encouraging note. That is such an incredible gesture. And as you say, to see these, these strong and kind of hardened crews be reduced to their emotions and in some cases to tears is really something heartening. So I think that's the perfect sweet spot. We leave it there. But we're going to check back with you a little bit later as you continue to talk to rescue workers. The work still continues, and it has to continue apace as the families continue to seek closure. Sipho Khema there. Wasn't that such a beautiful, beautiful moment?